little bit of behind the scenes that I'm gonna show here, and kind of testing out the bumper music and stuff. I'm not going to trust this 100%. I am going to go to the channel, see if it shows us live. It does show us live. Well, that's good. That's good. All right. I think we can go the dramatic music for a little bit, and maybe I should actually show my desktop here. So yeah, let me go to this. So I've got, this is my streaming PC, and since it's such a supercomputer, I can also game on it at times. But this right here, this OBS, I'm running 2 instances of OBS. They're in actually 2 separate folders. This is a compiled version of OBS. I hope it's not like inefficient or debug or choppy or anything. And here I can do something weird and put this on to the camera so you can see me gesticulate with my hands. So this is not my usual place where I sit and stream or anything, but I'll repeat myself, nobody's watching, I'm just practicing monologue basically. But it dawned on me that the streamers don't really show how they use their setup, and if they go so far as to say, oh, I have 1 streaming PC and 1 gaming PC, and this, it is kind of an existential setup where, especially if you watch someone that's doing YouTube videos or streaming videos or recorded videos of them showing how to use OBS, they're copying it from another PC, so they're screen capturing that PC, but what they're not showing is how their capturing PC is set up. But I'm trying to learn how to do the setup where this is the instance of OBS that's running this stream right now, and I'm going to show how the instance of OBS that normally does the streaming of gaming is set up, and the ins and outs and the behind the sausage factory of how things work. But yeah, I can give a quick tour of the setup, but I did want to kind of go through a bit of how, a bit how this setup works. And let me see, I've got the compressor set up where hopefully it clamps down this audio so that I can talk over it. And it probably won't be hopefully affecting the stream too much. And in order for me to be able to talk, I'm going to lower this for myself. Lower that so that I can hear it. I use a lot of voice meter. I'm trying to rely on it less nowadays with OBS 28, 29 having built-in process capturing, or you can capture the audio of a process. That's can avoid a lot of use of virtual cables. I still may resort to some virtual cables, plus with the PC setups that I have that I might walk through here real quick. But here I have a lot of audio streams because the pinnacle of the setup are these 4 scenes right here. And in fact, I've already lost 2 of the NDIs. Let me go kick those real quick. Okay. So this is more of the pinnacle here. The hero shot is this of a 4-way stream between these 4 machines. And I have in this room, I have 1 gaming PC, very high end, that is actually the streaming PC, on an 86-inch 4K TV. And then in the office, I have 3 gaming PCs, 2 that are still pretty high end. They're like Ryzen, they're Ryzen 7 5600s, 5900s, 5900 non-X, 5900 non-X. They're actually really good PCs with 3080s in them. And then in there I also have a Z-Box, which is a Zotac little mini PC that's not bad. It's like an i5 with a 2080 Super, so it's dedicated. That box, the only thing that box does is play Star Citizen, and it has enough other software like OBS to send out the NDI broadcast. The reason I do it for OBS is because I want to be able to capture individual process. I want to be able to capture individual process audio and send them out to individual audio streams. I could share out one of those desktops and maybe show that sometime. So that I can flip between any of these PCs manually, and that's fine. That's, you know, pretty cool. But here in this house, my thought, my perspective, the idea behind this is that it started off, the very, very first thought was just 2 PCs, where these 2 PCs were sitting, Knight and Knigget were sitting side by side, and if one of them crashed, I log both of them into the game, and if one of them crashes, the other one can pick up. It can land the ship, and drop off the cargo, that sort of stuff, or go recover and heal the ship while the other one's trying to log back in and find their way back. So it started with 2, but then I had kids, and my kids grew up, and my oldest is 7 right now, or they're growing up, as all kids do. And I'm bringing in my 7-year-old, my oldest, into the game on a little mini PC, and so I can bring her into a 3-way game where I sit in the office, and I can make this a little larger. And so now I can play with my daughter, and I can play along, and I can stream it. And maybe one day I would bring in some webcams and that sort of thing, where maybe I might have a webcam on her, a webcam on me. I do have overhead cams, like to show the keyboard, and I kind of went a little crazy. And then also my 5-year-old is also interested. They're all girls, 3 girls. And I have a 3-year-old who I think I could get to play the game too. So that's why I have 4 PCs right now, is because I have me playing 2, and then my 7-year-old playing 1, and my 5-year-old playing the other. And so we could all 3 of us can play 4 PCs, and they can help me continue my gimmick. As my friend Don Steeler said, and I totally embrace the gimmick. The gimmick started off with 2 streams, and let me log them both in so that you can see them in widescreen, and it becomes a little more obvious. So those are launching. So these are ultra wide monitors, and 21:9 monitors. And this was the original gimmick, was these 2 screens. Loading, and let me wait till the other one loads, and I'll wake them up. I think he's still in the Atlas suit. I think Knigget is still in the Atlas suit. All right, let's see. And again, it's just kind of test getting familiar with the equipment. This is like the ultimate transparency of I'm just learning on the fly in front of you in public as I go. So this was the original gimmick, 2 ultra wides. I kind of preferred to have this sitting off on the side, and then having some icons, some chat scroll, mission log, advertisements. What you could, there's a lot of blank space. I liked this layout between these 2 ultra wides. This was the original setup and the original gimmick that I came up with, and I could do it this way too. The reason why I've kind of shifted away from that is when I start bringing in 3, the symmetry between them doesn't flow very well to go between these 2. To go from this view, it's like a cinematography or a direct. I have pipe dreams or whatever of making this a little bit more of not really artificial intelligence, machine learning, not type of that stuff, but more automated. And I'll get into that in a second here about how this is a little bit more realistic to manage. And it's automated-ish in a way. I may have times where I only want 2 characters being displayed. I may have times, it depends on how I want to play. There may be times when I want to play just by myself. I just want to log in night and do something. There may be times where I just want, proper names, Knigget, and I want to play with just Knigget. There may be times where I just need to log in night and play a night and do some things and fix the inventory or go somewhere or get that character placed in the right location for a future game. There may be times where I may need to do the same thing with the other 2 accounts, my 2 daughters' accounts, which I don't really have proper names for. So I may want to individually play them at some point in time. But then there might be times where I want to the intention of the play moment is for me to just play the traditional gimmick of Knight versus Knigget. And there may be times where these 2 PCs are in separate rooms, where maybe I might want to be in a separate room from the other machine that's playing. And here's the Swooby is the highest end. It's a supercomputer. It's a Ryzen 9 7950X, like one of the best CPUs you can get right now. And then the Z-Box is the worst PC, which is an i5 10th gen with the 2080 Super. So it's okay, but they're fine to play head to head. These 2 PCs are co-located, sitting right side by side. These 2 PCs are in separate rooms. These 3 PCs, I might want the 2 PCs, Knight and Knigget, are in the same room. That's also in the same room with the Z-Box. Or, and then I might want to highlight one of the 3 at any moment in time. And then I might want to have Knight and Knigget that are co-located in the office, along with the Swooby computer that's in a totally separate room. So that'd be another gaming style. And then the pinnacle is when I get all 4 accounts logged in, and my 2 daughters and I, 2 of my daughters and I can play. And that also opens up the possibility that the 3rd one can play sitting on my knee. That my youngest could sit on my knee while she's 3 years old, and she could play. Just move the mouse and fiddle around. So that's the setup there, and I did have, and I still have, the code for a Discord bot that would listen to Discord active talkers, so that when any of these accounts was ready to play, they would log into Discord, enter the voice channel, they'd enter the voice channel, and when they talk, That's fine. When they talk, they would trigger Discord actor talker signaling, and there's a bot that can pick up that Discord event, and then that bot is the single bot is connected to both Discord and OBS, and when Discord says somebody's talking, then the bot would automate OBS and tell OBS to do something. But since then, I've kind of leaned into the code worked. It was okay and sufficient. That it got complicated, like most source code does when it grows a little out of control. But I started to play with the advanced scene switcher, and that's what I think would be interesting for someone else to learn about and play with and experiment, is how I'm using advanced scene switcher to do some of this stuff. Let's import this this one. And yeah, I'll have to fine-tune these a bit. What I have here, this is a brand new import, and I haven't saved it since I set it up last time. But this is how the automation works. So the way I'm using advanced scene switcher is if someone is talking, if OBS detects someone talking, and so to make this work, I had to break out audio into separate components. So every one of the PCs that's streaming, five separate audio outputs. It's streaming, it's Discord and Gilded, which you'll see why in a moment. And it's streaming the microphone, which is the most important part, is the microphone. And then it's streaming the RSI launcher, which plays music, and I just like to throw that in. It's purely optional, but if I'm going to go ahead and capture the launcher, I might as well capture the audio from the launcher too. And then the actual game, Star Citizen. So I have the voice channels, because I can flip and flop, pick and choose whether I want to use Discord or Gilded for certain purposes. And then I could have the actual game itself, but then I have the microphone, which all of the PCs would talk into a mic. And so if someone's talking, that's the one that's critical. And so if Knigget is talking, I can pick that I want it to switch to. Make sure, just wait until. Yeah, switch to scene. And this is where I get to choose what I want. And this would be night, and this would be Ruby, and this would be Spots. And so these top four let me decide that if the Z-Box microphone is talking and its audio is above 50%, then we'll switch to where the Z-Box, uppercase Z-Box, that scene is this one down here. And if Swooby is the one talking for 1.5 seconds, then Swooby will be the one to become active. And Night or Knigget, then it'll automatically switch the scenes. And then there's a secondary thing that if it's any one of these scenes, which I will maximize this. If it's any one of those scenes, whether I'm on the night scene where I'm doing Knigget solo, or Knigget night, where I'm doing a single scene, you can't see it in here, but I'm doing single scene, a double scene, picture in picture, a triple picture, or a quadruple picture. When the one that's Knigget is the one that's maximized and spotlighted. Then what we do is we unmute Knigget's Discord and Gilded. And we mute everyone else's Discord and Gilded. Because if I don't do this, this is where the audio gets complicated. There's different sound effects, like when someone enters and exits a channel, and if any one of these PCs is logged in to Gilded or Discord and someone else talks, then each one of them is going to be playing out their audio that they received onto the stream, and there's going to be multiple copies of that audio then on the stream, and you'll hear what will appear to be an echo, and it's not really technically an echo. It's 3 or 4 independent captures of the audio of someone else's voice that are being broadcast. So again, it's not an echo, it's just an intentional duplication. But this lets me mute, this advanced scene switcher lets me mute that on the stream, which is the only place where it's important. I did used to have a script that would detect the active talker and then use the Windows Win32 or WinRT API to actually go in and enumerate the audio device and mute the virtual audio cable that Discord or Gilded was broadcasting, was rendering audio to, outputting audio to. So this advanced scene switcher really lets me put everything inside of this one configuration file, and I can decide if I want to play, how I want to play that day. Do I want to do a 4-play? Is this game for 4-play? Am I only going to do night and night? I don't have to worry about these two. And so our night and night going to be just head to head, and I can basically just pick the night and Knigget scene, and that's how I would set them up. Or I'm going to play is one of my daughters going to be playing, or are all 4 of us going to be playing, and then who is sitting at what. And if we're all 4 playing, then I would use the pinnacle of having all 4 be switched to, and so this is an example of all 4 are enabled for that. I might as well finish setting this up. I was changing the ordering of this. K, N, S, Z. And here there's going to be, well, I do the unmutes first. Okay, this was incorrect. This should be Gilded. Mute, mute, mute. I gotta fix that. This is Swooby. I want to put Knigget before night. Knigget before night. And Z-Box on the bottom. And then Z-Box, Knigget, Knigget, Night Swooby. That looks okay. K in SZ. This one's really just the unmute's at the top, and then K S Z. Unmute at the top. K N Z. Unmute at the top. K N S. And then I do fix the scenes, where I got 5 scenes for Knigget, 5 possible scenes for night, if it's scene that, scene night, night, scene night, night, Knigget, night, Z-Box. If it's scene Knigget, night, Swooby, or if it's scene Knigget, night, Swooby, Z-Box. I think this is an extra. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now Swooby's a little different because I wouldn't really be showing all of those at the same time, but I would have different combinations of Swooby I got 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got swooby, 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 and swooby. Then it would switch to those. And then the box. If your Z box or swooby Z box, 1, 2, 3, 4. Which is gonna be night. Connecticut night Z box. Already got swooby Z box. Okay. I think that gets everything back up and running. I'm going to remember to export that. Yeah, that sounds good. To the desktop. And yeah, so that's how this is automated, where if Knight's microphone is talking, it switches to a specific scene. And so I may in the future find out ways to OBS automate this, where I may want to have it flip between things. But right now I need to decide ahead of time when I sit down to play. Am I playing solo? Am I playing Knight and Knigget head to head? Am I playing a 3-way with one of my daughters, or a 4-way with 2 of my daughters, or a 5-way? And so then this also opens up the possibility to bridge in, it's an advanced topic, to bridge in friends like Dawn Stealer or Sinister Puppy into a 5th or a 6th PC in the stream. And then I would start losing these ultra wides. This setup here, with these 4 PCs, I have an ultra wide to the left or right, and then I have a 21:9 on the left and right, flanking in the middle a 16:9, and this is 16:9. And this gives some decent symmetry. There's a little bit of black enveloping here. It gives me some free space. I can maybe find some cool graphics or chat or advertisements or timers or objectives, something going on in the background. And that lets me, I'm flipping between the two, this flips between the two 16:9 screens. And then this kind of, the intention is to make it not jump, where it's pretty, there is a little jumping here because they're not all looking at full screen videos. One of these is showing the launcher, and so that launcher alone by itself gives it the impression that it's this one. I could launch. Yeah, I'll just go ahead and launch, and then we'll get you'll see what it looks like with that. So I try to keep it so that it's not so jumpy. And then here we've got the two 21:9s and a 16:9 in 3 modes. And then here I've got kind of, now it's asymmetric, where I've got these two 21:9s and this 16:9. And then here I got two 16:9s. That's launching, so it should come up in a second. And here, so this is where I got two 16:9s, and it's take over the foreground, aren't you? Gotta let it do its thing. I'm rendering Star Citizen at a different screen resolution than the desktop itself. When it starts up, it has a little bug there. But here, if I go back to these, this 4-way, now they all, there's not a whole lot of jumping going on here. They're pretty They're pretty consistent. The only real jumping is the things that actually are different on the screen. Oh, they already logged out, so. And then their title. Just had to do a little font math with the titles to make sure they come out the same size. And that's about it. And then that sort of explains with all this symmetry that I'm trying to keep. Then when I come into this, the original gimmick, that's where I don't really, I see how this is different than the others, and then that makes me then prefer this to be centered horizontally, and then this centered horizontally. It makes it much smoother flowing to have it that way. And then if you look, I'm not actually running it, I believe, so if I start Advanced Scene Switcher, if I actually start on it and have it run, you'll see that when I switch the scenes, there's the discords that are muted, so I won't be hearing any of those audios from any of the other PC's discords. Same with this. But now, when I switch to you, the Swooby, that one actually did not unmute. So I gotta make sure that, test out those settings. So here we're doing something live on the fly. Interesting that it didn't change. It is doing something, but it's not. There's a setting on the changes. Nope. I think there is a. If we are the Swooby, if the active scene is Swooby, or, there we go, or. You gotta have or. I don't know how that got confused. Or. It was Swooby on its own. Okay, let's export that. I think it was this one. 441. This one. Yeah, whatever. So now if I go you, then Knight's Discord gets unmuted, and if I go here, Knight's Discord gets muted and Swooby's gets unmuted, and so now they all switch around, and you can see how they mute depending on which one is highlighted. That's right. Really, it's only the Discord gilded ones that need that mute logic. Now Z-Box should be muted. Discord gilded, yeah. And there's, all right. So that's how all that gets set up. And so the Advanced Scene Switcher is really, really powerful. So that's how long has the stream been? An hour. Hey, look at that. I gotta probably do some domestic stuff here. But that's a bit of behind the scenes about how it's set up. It's a bit chaotic and sloshy, this video was. I'm learning on the fly. And, but that's how the setup is. And I hope to improve it. It's improved over the years, and I hope to improve it even more. So, yeah, if this is not so much gameplay. I hope to get more into gaming now that this setup is working. I want to basically make it turnkey so that I can basically, if I feel like I want to play, I just turn on a couple of PCs, launch OBS, and things mostly just take care of themselves. I have to make a few decisions, come into the central box, and decide what I want to do.